Sadly, Hakari's base kit is probably the worst one out there.
Fun fact about me, after ditching Megumi as my main due to some terrible 1v1 experiences and overall pain, I became a Hakari main, and to this day, I'm still maining Hakari. That's why I want to take a step back and look at specifically his base kit, and maybe take a small look at his awakening to answer the question of whether or not Hakari actually sucks. It's not a completely unfounded belief to say Hakari is bad, because he does have a rather lackluster neutral if you look at his moves, with Reserve Balls and Fever Breaker being considered some of the worst moves in the entire game, and for pretty valid reasons. However, I'd still say Hakari is the GOAT of JJS, and absolutely strong enough to hold his own, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. Before we start talking about everyone's favorite gambling man though, make sure to hit the subscribe button to help support the channel and get more overly analytical JJS yapping. Now, let's get into the video. First thing I want to address when talking about why I think Hakari is actually really good and underrated in his base is his poor moveset, which is what a lot of people talk about when they say Hakari is kind of bad. This is pretty fair. Reserve Balls and Fever Breaker are both incredibly easy to react to and block, or simply just dodge since Reserve Balls has a very tiny hitbox and Fever Breaker has extremely short range that makes it only work in M1 combos. I won't try and defend them because the moves are weak if you're looking at them just for their value in neutral. Rough Energy is also debatably the worst guard break in the game, since unlike Rapid Punches or Black Flash, it has long startup that against good players usually leads to them unblocking and interrupting an attack. It leaves his counter and Shutter Doors as the only good moves he has, and even then, counter is just an objectively worse Manji kick in terms of what it does, and Shutter Doors is fairly easy to dodge or block. His neutral is bad if you just take a look at what his moves alone can do. However, what he has is good enough to still be really solid. And when you take a look at his cooldowns, the reason why Hakari still works really well in his base makes more sense. Taking a look at Hakari's cooldowns, you can see that they're all relatively low. Reserve Balls, Shutter Doors, and Rough Energy all have a cooldown of only 10 seconds. His counter has a cooldown of 12 seconds, and Fever Breaker has a cooldown of 15 seconds. This might not sound too remarkable at first. I mean, Curse Strikes also has a cooldown of 10 seconds, and so does Lapse Blue. But it changes when you take a look at other characters' moves as a whole. Beyond just Curse Strikes and Lapse Blue, stuff like Reversal Red, Manji Kick, and Twofold Kick has a cooldown of 20 seconds. Divergent Fist has a cooldown of 18 seconds, while Rapid Punches and Crushing Blow have cooldowns of 15 seconds, which stand in stark contrast to Hakari, whose moveset has very short cooldowns. Hakari can get his combo enders back far quicker than everyone else. He can shoot out Reserve Balls in each combo because it'll usually be off cooldown after he lands a combo. He'll have Shutter Doors off cooldown almost all the time for the same reason as Reserve Balls, and while Fever Breaker is nothing too crazy, it still is a short cooldown that lets him use it in combos far more frequently than other characters. I compared Yuji and Gojo's cooldowns to Hakari before, but if you take a look at Megumi, the advantage that Hakari has is even more apparent. All of Megumi's cooldowns are pretty long, meaning that between each combo, he has a period of downtime where he has to run away or suffer the consequences of just not doing a lot of damage per combo. But Hakari can keep unloading the same combo again and again because his cooldowns aren't long at all. Even comparing his counter to Yuji's, you'll see the clear advantage Hakari has, despite his counter being worse functionally. Hakari can spam his counter far more than Yuji can, shutting down people trying to capitalize off of a vulnerability, whereas Yuji has to wait those extra 8 seconds before he has access to his counter. Everything Hakari has isn't crazy strong, but their cooldowns are short enough that they can essentially be used as much as a forward dash or a side dash. He always has access to these, whereas other characters do not. The bottom line of all of this is that Hakari has far better consistency than other characters in the game. Unlike Gojo and Megumi, who have rather noticeable downtimes between landing a combo and then getting to do that combo again, Hakari can pull off one combo, land at M1, and then pull off another combo again, with it either being some basic but still meaningful Shutter Doors combo if you went right back into the fire with Hakari, or a fully fleshed out combo if you spent some time running around in neutral before grabbing a second combo. What's even better is that Hakari has 2 combo enders that he can use, letting him alternate between the two between his different combos. He can end off his first combo with Fever Breaker, and if his opponent decides to use a Ragdoll cancel, he can then use Uppercut into Rough Energy on his second combo to still keep doing more damage, even if Fever Breaker is on cooldown. Hakari has so much combo consistency, unlike other characters who just generally are forced to chill out for a bit after they land a combo, and it both stops people from playing too aggressive against Hakari after he lands a combo, since he'll be able to punch them, unlike if you rush a Megumi or a Gojo after they do a combo, and also lets Hakari play aggressive whenever he wants, because he doesn't have the same damage loss after doing a combo that other characters face. His low cooldowns and combo consistency more than make up for a lackluster neutral as long as you're good at the basic mechanics of the game, know the movement well, and aren't overly reliant on moves like Yuji's crushing blow feint or Megumi and Mahito's move spamming to win. He rewards good knowledge of the gameplay with consistency that other characters don't have. Plus, unlike Yuji and Megumi, he gets extra health to let him tank a bit more as well. In a nutshell, Hakari's neutral is bad compared to other characters, that I'll acknowledge. 3 of his moves are practically useless, while the other 2 that are usable are really just okay. However, if you don't need to use moves to start combos, which is basically the standard for good players, then that weakness stops mattering, and you can keep throwing out combo after combo with good base stats to overwhelm your opponent, even if you're both trading blows equally. Hell, even with his domain, which people usually view as a negative on Hakari that stops him from awakening whenever he wants, it can really be a positive if you use it right. By running away and getting enough distance, you can use your domain to stall a fight while you get your jackpot, which will almost always happen unless your opponent is an awakened Gojo or Sukuna and breaks it with Hollow Purple or World Cutting Slash. That means that against Mahito, Megumi, Mahoraga, other Hakaris, and even to an extent most Sukuna's players, since he gets punished by using up 3 moves to break the domain, if he's able to pop Idle Death Gamble without trapping anyone inside, he can stall at the opponent's ult and then meet their base mode with his awakened jackpot mode that is basically just death to anyone who goes up against it. Yes, his domain does become a death sentence for the user if they trap any awakening character in it, but that can be played around, and a jackpot mode you get rewarded with is good enough to win against every awakening in the game without even having to try that hard, making up for all of that. So what's the final verdict? Well, it's that Hakari is cracked. I like Hakari, and you really should give him a try if you haven't already, especially if you've been putting him off because you think he's bad or something. Hakari is super straightforward, with 0 crazy complicated gimmicks, not counting his domain, which isn't even that complicated, but despite that straightforwardness, or maybe because of it, he has everything he needs to win. You don't need the button mashing and tech spamming of a Yuji main, or the 300 IQ plays that a good Megumi player needs at higher levels of play, we don't talk about the other type, to do well with Hakari. He really is just a character where your own skill at the basics of the game decide if you win or not, and his base holds up just fine without a crazy neutral, solely because of the consistent damage it can put out there. Anyways, that's all I've got to say on Hakari. When other characters are just punching bags with M1s equivalent to the attack dummy, Hakari is able to throw hands, or rather shutter doors and pachinko balls, with no problems. Even if his best might not be at the same level as other characters' bests, he will always be at his best while Megumi players have to sit there holding block and running away, trying to get their cooldowns back, or actually play the game while having nothing but their fists to work with. He's my current main after ditching Megumi, and well, he is a great character. Anyways, that's it for the video. If you disagree with me, feel free to tell me why in the comments, as long as you've got an actual reason for it. Other than that, thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already, because it really helps me out. I'm Noob Eternally, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time in another video. Bye.